Hi and welcome to this video. In the last video, we designed this nice template that you see on the screen. In this video, we will build it as an HTML template. Few things to note before we start. Now we have ChatGPT, so I'm not gonna build or code every line of the template. At the beginning, we will go to ChatGPT, we will get the basic template, and I'm gonna explain to you the code of this basic template. And then we will add the element from this design, like the images, the text, the icons, and everything from this Illustrator design. In the time of ChatGPT, you don't need to write everything, every single line of code by yourself. You just need to understand what's written in front of you. And so the goal of this video is just to make you understand the code. So when you read it, you know why we used this element here and not another HTML element. Let's get started. First, as you can see on my screen, I went to ChatGPT and I asked him to create a basic template with inline styling. And then I took it and I went to Visual Studio Code here. In Visual Studio Code, I created an index HTML page. And here in the index HTML, I just did a paste here. And then after doing a paste, I opened the template in the browser with the live server. And by the way, the live server is very helpful when you are developing website, HTML, JavaScript, CSS websites. And you can download it by going to extensions. And here, this is live server. It's installed on my Visual Studio Code, so I don't need to install it. And when we are inside an HTML file, we can use the right mouse click and then say open with live server. Let me just test it. And as you see, we have this basic template here. Now, these are the tools or the start point of developing the template. Now let's move to explain what I copied and pasted from ChatGPT. And here we have, like as any normal HTML file, we have the header, and we are not going to use the header at all. Because what I want to do, I want to build a safe template. And what I mean by a safe template, it's a template that it's going to work on all devices. And it's going to be a responsive template. And as I mentioned, let me bring back the design. Now we can compare the design to the code. And here, as I mentioned already, we have a table. And this table is this table here, the table that is going to hold the background color. And this is the outer table. And then after creating the table, we need to create a table row. But please note that this table row is not holding any CSS attribute because it's limited in newsletters. So it's not recommended to use any CSS attributes on the table row. And let me go back to the first two elements. And here for the background, we have here the body element with a zero margin, zero padding, and a background. And then we have the first table, and the first table has a background color of F4, which is a light gray color. Then we use cell padding, border, and width. If you are familiar with HTML, this is not a modern HTML coding. This is a very old way or a very old HTML code. However, this is the way that it works in in newsletters. Now, after moving from table to table row, and table division or TD element is a very important element because this is the element where we can use spacing. And under TD, we are using padding. So the spacing in table division is padding. So we are not allowed to use margins here. We can use just padding to add some spacing. And then inside this table division, we have a table, another one. So this was the outer one, and this is the inner one, or this is the main table, the body of our email template. And here we have a width of 600 pixels. It was common or still common to use 600 pixels width for email templates. I use 800. So let me change it to 8. And then we have still the same thing, cell padding 0, cell spacing 0, border 0. Now we are going into building the template. Here we have a table row. Now let me go back. This is going to be the first table row. This is the header or the banner. And then we have the body, which is going to be the text here, And we have the footer, which is going to be this one here at the bottom. Let me go back to the browser, and here, as you can see, this is the footer, this is the body, and this is the header. And the last thing in the basics is the opening and closing tags. So you need an opening and closing tags. This is one of the mistakes in newsletters. So if you make a mistake in an open and close tag, like you forget closing a tag, it's going to be a mess in your newsletter template. So it's better to use a Visual Studio Code and to make sure that your code is clean and you are using opening and closing tags whenever or wherever it's needed. Now let's go back to Illustrator and to export the imagery. So we have here a couple of images that we need to export. The first one is going to be the banner. I'm gonna export this headline here and the image with the logo together because we can't use a gradient in email templates, and we can't use text and image in the background in email templates. So we need to group them all, and then export them. Now let's go to asset export and let's drag and drop it there. So this is the first one. Now we have this one, we can just drag and drop it. Then we go to this one, drag and drop it. And then we have here these icons. We can also drag and drop them all. So now we have 5 icons, and now we still need this footer or this small image. It's better to give them names. So banner. Now let's export them. We need to export them as PNGs because if we choose JPEGs, the images here, the icons are not going to be round. They are going to be like squares with a gray background. Shift A and let's see. So it's here. Let's go to HTML, select folder, then export asset. And as you see here in the folder, we have all the images here inside this folder. inside the HTML folder. Now let me create images folder and let me move them all to that folder, to this folder. Move. Now let's go back to HTML and to the browser. So now let's start with the first one. We need to add an image. So we have banner. And as you see, we have here padding 20 pixels. We have like a black border. So let's remove the black, the color, and then let's remove the padding. As you see now, it looks exactly like the design here. And after that, we have the text. So this is the body of our email template. So let's copy the text here. Or without the text, let me just add lorem ipsum. So this is lorem. Let's check. As you can see, whenever I press on save, Control S, it's gonna update the page automatically. So let's create again a paragraph. So now we have a couple of paragraphs. As you can see, the paragraph element accepts the margin attribute. So if you want to add spacing between your paragraphs, you can use the margin here. And the padding, you can use the padding with table division. So this is our text now. If you see here, the elements are not formatted correctly. So if you want to format them, you can press on Alt Shift F. So now we formatted the whole elements. And we can save. Now we still need this footer here with the social media icons, and we need this one at the bottom. We can start with this one at the bottom. So we can remove the paragraph and we add images, and then footer. And here, as you see, we have padding. We can remove the padding or make it 0. If you see here under the image, we have kind of 1 pixel free. It's kind of a white space here under the image. And this is because images are inline elements, so the browser expects a paragraph or text under this image because this is an inline image. So in order to remove it, we can use style and then display block. This is working here in the browser, but it's not going to work on all other email engines or email servers. So it's not going to work in old Outlook. You can't avoid the 1 pixel under the image. There are some ways to fix it, but it's really difficult to get rid of it. Now we need to build the other part of the footer. We can create another table row and then table division, and then let's format the text to have them in the right place, and let's call it social media. There is something that I forgot to mention here, the padding, which is 20 pixels. I want to make it more because if you see here on the screen, it's not aligned. The text in the banner and the text in the body are not aligned. So let me make it 35 pixels. Now, as you can see, it's aligned perfectly. And now let's copy the same values from the body element, the same style elements, and then paste it here. There is only one thing we need, the background color of this box. Let's check the color. So it's F2. Now let's add a background color. And now let's go back to see if it's working. Let us save. I think I forgot the hash. Yeah, and now we have the color here. Now, in order to add these social media icons, we need to create a table with 4 columns. And so let's start with the table. And then we have table row. And inside this table row, we need table division, or which is going to be inside this row 4 times. Now let's format. Alt Shift F to format the HTML code. And here we need an image element inside each of them. And let's start first with Facebook. Then X or Twitter. Insta, and at the end, YouTube. Now let's check the website and see how it looks like. Um, it looks okay, but I think I need just to add a little bit of spacing after each one of them. So let me add style and then padding 10 pixels, or let me add just 5. We need also to use this standard things for tables. We need to add it here. So I made the mistake copying the width 800, so I need just to remove it. And now we have even less spacing between each one of them, so I need to add more here to make it 10. So 10 is okay. Let me do copy paste. So this is the icons. Looks a bit more than our design. Maybe we can reduce it to 8 pixels. Maybe even to 5. So 5 looks good. Sorry, I forgot because adding um 10 is going to add 10 on each side of them. So let me just keep it to 5. It's going to be at the end 10 because each one is going to add 5 to the left and right side of it. Yeah, now it looks better. Now we need to add another table row. And then here we need a paragraph. And inside this paragraph, we need kind of lorem ipsum. I kind of forgot that I need to not add it here because this table is just for the icons. I need to get out of it and then to add it to another here inside this element as a paragraph under the table. I removed in the design, I didn't remove this space, this free space, but here I removed it in the template. Now this is almost done. Let me just format the text and then let us save. So this is now this video is a bit long. It's going to be around 20 minutes. So let me finish now and let's continue in the next video. In the next video, I will talk about how to use it in Outlook, in Gmail, in Word, and even how to use it on the web. That's all for today. Hope you learned something from the video. If you have any question, please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in coming videos.